rotate it, like actually just bring the arm forward a little bit. Do you want me to move it? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to my vlog. As you have just seen, that was Babet, my wonderful bikini first timer, who is competing tomorrow. It is, as I've just said, her first competition. She needs some more food. With bikini, she keeps saying, do I need to be leaner? Am I holding water? When it comes to bikini, the look is lean, and yes, it's still, you'll feel awful at the end like you do for any class when it comes to competing, but the goal isn't to be completely striated. They hate it. They don't like your hamstrings being separated. They don't like real separation, striations through the delts. They don't like it when you have striations through the glutes. They don't like it if your midsection is too lean. You have to be just right. So that goal right now and across this whole entire peak week has been to allow her to come back to life, to bring some more fullness as we've gotten lean. She hasn't found prep difficult at all. She's probably found prep easier than the off season, because the off season, eating more foods, feeling a little bit heavier, especially when you're in that class when your probable goal is that you want to look and feel good a lot of the time. And for sure, as you further progress yourself through the class, as you get further into the pro ranks, it's probably a look that you should be able to maintain the majority of the year. Yes, your last few weeks should be pretty harsh, but the need for real lots and lots of mass isn't there. It should be more of a sustainable, maintainable look. It is getting a bit extreme at the minute. I think that they're doing their best job to pull it back, but the goal is to definitely have a physique that you could probably at least hold on to for the majority of the year, and then those last few weeks just obviously getting that little bit tighter to make sure that you've got that crispiness for a competition. So that is what we're doing tonight. She's having some more meals. She'd usually have 6, she's going to have a 7th today. She's travelled quite a lot, probably feeling, well, not probably, she is feeling a little bit hypo at times, just because she's very lean. She will have had to have been active with other people and communicative a little bit more today, thinking a little bit more, whereas usually she's probably a little bit more chilled at home. So she just needs a little bit more food just to make sure that tomorrow morning she wakes up and she's feeling absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to show you like one day here. I'm going to show you little bits and bobs of the highlights of the entire weekend. So I've travelled from the UK today all the way through to the Netherlands. I've not missed a meal. I've made sure that I am here for my client in person. I've made sure that I have been on my phone when, obviously apart from the plane ride, for my clients, whether they be in off season, whether they be in prep. I am not a big mass bodybuilder. I can travel, I can do what I need to do and still be a great athlete. If you're a huge bodybuilder, what the travel takes it out of you, especially if you're trying to progress to be the best, likely the travel and going here, there and everywhere is not going to happen super frequently. Often, yes, and at times when it's the right time, yes, especially in off season, etc. But for people like myself who aren't massive, who travel's not going to take it out of me, like I'll not gain weight from travel, but I'll not lose weight from traveling. It's not going to affect me and my progress as an athlete. And yes, my goals as an athlete are at the upper echelon, but so is my career as a coach as well. So because I can do both, I will. And I want to show people that it is possible, still have a great physique, still push towards potentially going to the Olympia, as that is my goal again, to get there in the future and come top 10. I want to show that you can do that and do all of this as well, because I think there's a real mindset, and I'm not talking about the big guys because it's slightly different. that you can't do that, and you can. Like, there's so many people who have jobs outside of the fitness community or outside of bodybuilding that requires them to be focused, hands-on, etc., and they still win shows, pro shows, go to the Olympia. And I think that it's becoming a common thing not to do that, and I don't think that you need to. So I'm just here to show you that you can do all of it. I prepped all of my meals, it went in my bag. I take a full day of food every single time I travel anywhere, not because then I have a safety net of I have a meal with me in case I get a bit delayed, but I don't have to rush to the supermarket because I've got all of my meals with me. I'm not having to rush to make my meals in the evening. I can just chill when I get here. Yeah, I've still been to the supermarket. Yeah, I've still cooked my meals, so that I'm not doing all of that tomorrow, but I've prepared myself so that today's foods can just be there. I can eat them, I can go about the day, prepare myself for the weekend so that I can just focus in on my client's show tomorrow, go and train for what I need to do for me as my bodybuilding, be prepared for Monday so that I can do all my check-ins as I travel home so that nobody has a delay with that, and I have all my meals ready to rock and roll as well. So this evening I'm going to eat my last 2 meals. I've actually got my 2 sweet meals left, which is my oats and then my cream of rice. Exciting. Even if I got completely sidetracked and I couldn't get to the supermarket and I just had in my bag my cream of rice and my whey, etc., I would just eat that 6 times a day. I wouldn't come away from my plan because I've not been able to go to the supermarket and get my chicken and rice. I would just make do. Why? Because I want to be a great bodybuilder. That is the thing. Travel isn't a problem. Potentially you are the problem that's coming away from the plan, regardless of whether you can stick to the same foods or whether you have to macro track good foods for the same calories to still be able to stick to your plan. That's potentially and probably your biggest downfall. So regardless of what the situation is, stick to your plan, be prepared. I've got cream of rice, I've got oats, I've got dark chocolate, I've got whey, I've got my salt, I've got my supplements, my health supplements, I've got my food weighing scales that came in the backpack that I had on the plane. I've got everything in terms of dry products that you could possibly imagine in my suitcase. I have them all the time so I don't have to pack them every single time. Just food bags with different things in, my whey, my cream of rice, etc. So it doesn't take up a lot of room in my suitcase, but it just means that I am here and I have everything that I need, even if I can't get to a supermarket or if something happened and the stove was broken. That being said, we talk about being able to stick to plan when you are going away as a bodybuilder. I've got a hotel room here, but it's actually got a kitchenette. So it's got a stove, it's got a sink, it's got a fridge, and it's got a microwave. You don't need anything more than that. So you don't need a big fancy fluffy apartment. If you want to do that and you can afford that, etc., do. If you can only get this and that's how you got to make way for it, that's fine. That is enough cooking facilities to be able to cook if that's what you need to do. But you can bring your dry products and you can still stick to plan. It is your choice. Do you want to or do you not want to? That is your choice and it is down to you. I'm going to watch Oppenheimer. I've then got a client call, a Q&A call, because we don't want to miss out on all the things that we usually do at home for my other clients. And we're going to head to bed because that bed feels comfortable. We're going to have a good night's sleep before we get up nice and early, look at the bet and head to the gym. That's why I would use it and when I would use it. And if anybody has any further questions about that, please let me know. Next question. What's the best way to go about strength imbalances between your left and right side? For example, I'm noticing that pulls are much smoother and reps are higher on my right side compared to my left. When none of us are symmetrical. We all have stronger sides compared to the other side. Even it's just the way in which we potentially sleep and we put ourselves out of line, and one side feels just a little bit more fiery and more connected than the other because of certain things that we do day to day, potentially posture issues, etc. We're always going to have one side stronger than the other. My right side always gets about 2 to 4 more reps on my upper body, and then the same on the lower body, but on the other side. So there's probably a scientific reason as to why, but none of us are symmetrical. We can't expect our bodies to be perfect because I don't really think the word perfect exists. But the way in which I combat it is I start with my weakest side first. I always push to failure, meaning that regardless of what movement it is, if you're doing a unilateral movement with your upper body or lower body, you would always need to or should need to take about 30 seconds to a minute minimum rest from one side to the other if you're truly taking your set to full intensity. Then I would go with the stronger side, and then you'd aim to match the reps. You might get one or two more, but essentially it's better than probably getting about 5 reps more if you were to start on your stronger side. Next question. And I know that this is Gabs. Hey, probably know who this is, bikini client. If you have 2 shows back to back, in brackets 7 days to be exact, do you give a celebratory meal for the first show, or would you prefer to manipulate the current meal plan to optimize the second peak? It depends on the person. Some people. I'm actually going to do a very long YouTube video on this because I think it's important that we talk about it, and I think it's important that someone who's had experience with it as a female talks about it, but also talks about it in a sense that we're not trying to demonize it in the way that we're saying, I've done it, I don't do it anymore, and I'm going to bash everybody else that does it and they should never do it. Just like people when they finish bodybuilding and they try to bash it. That's not me. Also, from the same perspective, we need to create a little bit more awareness for females in regards to what to expect post coming off a PD cycle, regardless of whether that's Anavar, which is seen as obviously a safer drug, etc., or something like primobolan that's a little bit more potent, a little bit stronger. You are still going to get side effects afterwards. Obviously, there's the risk of losing your cycle when you're on, and then obviously affecting it when you come off. There's the risk of things like hair growth that's not going to stop as soon as you come off. It takes a very long time for things like that to slow down. Your voice will obviously change when you are on. Again, it will continue probably to change when you're off, especially with Primo staying in your system a little bit longer. And ours obviously a little bit more quick in and out, so I'm not saying that the virilization is going to continue with that one. However, I'm not going to say that it's going to go back to normal, because it will. Hormonally wise, as we've just said, it can risk you losing your cycle and then that being long-term effects as well, which then obviously links to the effects that it can have on your fertility. If you're thinking about having kids into the future, obviously think about your own risk versus reward ratio. For me, the risk when I was pushing assistance was worth it for me, but I'm not going to say that that's worth it for you. You have to make your own decision. The other thing that people don't often talk about is the mental sides. I'm a very stable person. I'm in a very stable relationship. I'm happy. I'm a very go-lucky, easy-going, chilled out type of person. When I'm on gear, I am more amped up. I am more egotistical. I am more cocky. It gives me fake confidence. You come off it and you're the total opposite of that. You have sometimes people get the suicidal thoughts. I'm not saying that I've been to that degree because of the fact how I'm in a more stable place and that from a mental perspective, but I'm not saying that I haven't had very low days because of coming off, and then obviously the effects that has after, because of feeling so good and coming to a place that you don't feel good anymore. And I think that's one thing that people often don't think about. And there's a lot of unstable females in the industry that then choose to go down the route of PDs. It's potentially the biggest issue that we face, and the biggest combat that we have post bodybuilding when people try to bash it often, but it's just because they've chosen to do things that they shouldn't have done, especially based on their own personal situations and their own mental state at the time anyway. Bodybuilding creates very mentally unstable people to be even more mentally unstable, because dieting and pushing, you cause that effect. And if you already have that effect, you're going to be creating for that even more, regardless of whether you're assisted or not. So that's just the sides that come with it. Again, would I change anything that I've done, and do I regret anything I've done? Absolutely not. No. If you choose to go down that path, do it and get the right support to be able to do it in the best way possible. I've come out of using assistance potentially quite unscathed. I'm not bothered about the sides that I've had personally, even if people want to bash me. But yeah, just choose at your own risk and as your coach. Good morning from the Netherlands. Right, last meal went in. Nightcap of dream sleep from Train by JP. Could make 10 for money off. All went in later on last night for a good sleep. I got a 95 sleep score on my aura, so that's grand. Obviously I'm on my morning walk. Routine a little bit different to normal, just so that I can be back for babet. Gonna go and train legs with Mitch, her boyfriend. He's also my client who competed a few weeks ago. If you watch back on my YouTube, the morning walk is nice. All of the boats are lovely in the little marina, if that's what you want to call it. However, the big, slightly awful look of the power station in the background's not quite as nice. Anyway, I can see the actual venue from here, so the need to walk very far later is not on the cards, so looks like I'm going to have to do some steps around this little boating place to be able to get lovely. All that binging that you can hear is definitely Babette texting me that she's ready for me to go and see her, so I'm going to go and have a little look at her. She ate a lot of food yesterday, but anyway, it hasn't really gone up a little bit, but not really. It was definitely needed, and she's in a great place ready for today. Very nice. Let's go. Easy. Let's go. And again. 2. Nice. 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 Leave it there. Let's go. Easy. Let's go. Try. Come on. Easy side. Come on. 2 more. Try. And again. Let's go. Try. Nice. Big breath. Let's go. Drive it up. Come on. Easy. Drive it up. Come on. All the way. Nice. So obviously that was the session with Mitch. It was a good one. Definitely feeling a little bit warm. It's not warm here, but I think that the atmosphere's a bit different, so I'm feeling a bit flushed. Anyway, just had my breakfast, which was lovely. We're going to go and look at Babette again. As we looked at her this morning, she was looking fabulous. I definitely can't lock this door very well, can I? Go and see how she's looking. She's due to have a meal in 30 minutes, so just so that she can feel confident with what she needs to eat. That's what we are going to do. So once I have looked at her, I will give you a little bit of an update. Beautiful. Off you go. Perfect. Perfect. Lovely. Keep them hips pushed back. Nice. Perfect. Off you go. Yeah, you look great. Yeah, that's better. You're setting the legs better there. Good. Okay, off you go. It's okay. Yeah, that's nice. Keep that tummy nice and tight. That's better. Okay, and turn the back. Turn the back. Yeah, awesome. Really nice.
Back pose. Cross pose.
So I am back in my apartment, which is wonderful. Right, I had a great time today. I absolutely loved it. The competition was incredibly good. So happy to have come. It's potentially the best regional show, national qualifier, whatever you want to call it, I've ever seen. The classes were huge. The men's classic had so many competitors in it. Cuba's client did incredibly well in that one, especially to place because of how many there were on stage. Hats off to the judges as well, because it's hard to judge, never mind, but judge that many people on stage and really make great decisions. Like, that's some good judging, that. So hats off to them. So we headed to the venue, which was nice after doing a little in-person with Babette before we went, obviously doing our session in the morning. When we got there, I had all good intentions of getting a backstage pass, but they actually had ran out, and Babette had forgotten to get me one, so all good. I got a normal pass and then managed to sneak backstage anyway. I shouldn't talk about that. And then I went to the Alhpa Supps stand because there was a little expo there. It was a very big show. Like, the expo was probably bigger than any of the UK even pro qualifiers that we have, so that was pretty cool. The Alhpa Supps are the distributors in the Netherlands for TBJP, so that was nice to see Jasper, one of Cuba's clients, at the booth. The guy who runs Alhpa Supps, what a nice guy, had a nice picture with them. I saw one of my clients, Amy, for an in-person check-in. She is a figure competitor, currently in a little diet, before we go into another off-season, before we think about competing next year. I also saw one of my other clients, Yinti. I think I just said your name right. I'm really sorry if I said it wrong, but I think I just said that right this time. Obviously, different languages have different sounds, so it's not that I'm being rude or anybody's being rude and someone's not saying their name right. It's just that the sounds are different, and now that I know it, I can say it right. She looks great. We're going to be doing the competition later on in the year in Amsterdam, the William Benak. I think that's just what it's called, and then the day before it's the Iron Maiden or Iron Man, which will be super cool. She'll be doing the women's physique, which will be fun. And then obviously we had the girls to do bikini on stage. Babette came seconds, thirds, fourths, all the classes that she could have done, she did. She did incredible. As a first timer, she looked fantastic. She has a lot of potential, which is really nice to see, especially because of how much she loves to bodybuild as well. She doesn't do it for like the glitz and the glamour. She does it because she loves the lifestyle. Obviously, it's always disappointing because you go to win, but I mean, I came last at my first show and it didn't put me off. So anybody that's watching it that's potentially come last before, just keep going. If you love it, keep doing it. Even if people at home or people in your life say not to do it, just keep on doing it, because, I mean, if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it. Yes, there's parts of it that are a little bit unhealthy, but they can be very much temporary and small doses if you do it right. And then Babette won all of that. Cuba's client, Frederique, looked fantastic. She won the overall, looked absolutely amazing. Looking forward to seeing what the rest of her season looks like. Then we ate some more of my meals, came back, spoke to Cuba on the phone, had a call with a client, and now I'm just going to get ready for bed, have my nightcap of dream sleep and magnesium prior to bedtime. The TBJP one is great because it has a good amount of elemental magnesium, which not many magnesiums do, or it's a very low dose because they're not good quality. So make sure that you are getting a good quality one. If you use the TBJP stuff, of course, use code MEG10. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the vlog. Sorry there wasn't a lot of talking at the venue. I didn't actually have a lot of time to do that. I was talking to different people in and out. Maybe I should have took a camera person with me, but sometimes I think it's nice just to speak as a vlog because I can be myself, which is always nice for you guys because you probably get to see a little bit more of me and who I am. So that is the day in the life of a coach, an athlete, getting it all done and dusted, not making any excuses, and still making lots of progress both in the gym and, I'm hoping, in my physique. My usual check-in day is tomorrow. I'll be getting up very early, so my check-in will probably have to be Tuesday this week, so the hubby's going to have to be okay with that one. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you would like to get coached by me, please either drop me a DM or use my link in my link tree of my bio of my Instagram to be able to inquire. If you have any questions or anything else, feel free to hit me up in the comments here or DM me on Instagram. And hopefully you've enjoyed it, and we will be back again soon.